Welcome everybody. Welcome to another live stream. Hopefully you're all doing fantastic. Hopefully you've survived the carnage in the markets today. First of all, I just want to do a quick audio visual check, make sure you guys can hear everything and see everything clearly before I really dive into it here. But yeah, I hope you're all having a fantastic day. I'm in a very good mood. I don't know how long I'll be streaming. I probably only have about 20 minutes here. But I just wanted to do a quick market update with you guys, kind of go over, how the position that we took on Wednesday has gone and so on. Yeah, beautiful trade played out. So making good money today, as well as got some good news. So yeah, things are good. Things are looking up. So yeah, with that, yeah, just like I said, quick audio visual check and we will get started, legends. And let me know as well if any of you guys are in any interesting positions, if anyone's excessively bullish on the market, excessively bearish on the market, if you just don't know what the hell's going on, let me know in the comments and yeah, we'll go from there. If you have been appreciating these streams, you guys, the live analysis, the live streams, the live trades, hopefully you've been making money off it. If so, please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel. As well as my own. But yes, on the Financial Summit here, I've been streaming here a lot lately. So yeah, been having a blast doing them with you guys. So as long as you guys are interested in watching and liking what you see, then I will continue doing these. Having a blast. So yeah, basically, welcome to another episode of StuTube. Guys, Bitcoin absolutely dumping once again today, and so many people were blindsided by this price action. But those of you who have been tuning into my live stream, especially for the past couple of weeks, you've been ready for this. I kept saying it was only a matter of time till we retest my 786 fib support level, especially after I saw we had a bit of an early rejection right at that 65K level. On Wednesday's live stream here, I actually took a short right around 58K, which actually, I'm curious, did any of you guys end up taking that with me? I know I ended up actually taking, I think it was 3 short positions that stream. It took a few tries to get into the one I wanted. Full disclosure, had I stuck to the initial short that I took, I would have got an entry in actually a couple $100 higher. In the grand scheme of things, doesn't matter that much because the trade that I ended up in played out absolutely beautifully. But yeah, I think it was something like 3 scalps that we ended up getting into last Wednesday, or just this past Wednesday rather. And yeah, basically the first one ended up a very small profit. The second one was basically break even. And the third one absolutely took off. So yeah, just curious if anybody caught that with me. Now, what's next for Bitcoin? I don't have long here, but I wanted, like I said, just want to do a quick update on how things played out, as well as what I'm watching for now going into the weekend. I'm probably going to be out of town for a few days and I won't be around to stream. So I just kind of want to go into my immediate thoughts here. First things first, my main target has in fact been reached as far as the short position goes. So most of my short position has actually been closed now. $52,633 was my last preset take profit order, just front running my 786 a little, but I still do have 20% of my position running in case this floor drops, because although it's important to pay ourselves along the way on a winning trade, I also don't want to close it 100% because I am far from bullish at this point. I know that's not a shocker to any of you guys. But I'm open to the idea of some sort of a relief rally soon, maybe even right now. But, I just see, I personally don't think this downtrend is over. I know nobody wants to hear that. And you know what? I'm happy to be wrong. That's the thing. As soon as the chart invalidates me, as soon as we have some sort of bullish structure breaks, anything like that, I am totally open to the idea of changing my bias. Just as it stands right now, we keep setting lower lows and confirming lower highs and then seeing those rejections. We see it keep playing out. The 786, 886 seems to get rejected. Like I said, this last rally that we had actually got shut down very slightly before my 786, which would have been around 65.5K. We got shut down about $500 early at about 65K even, pretty much. But yeah, basically, I've been calling for this pullback to the 786. We have tested it absolutely perfectly. Not surprising to see that we're getting some sort of a bounce here. I myself, not overly interested in longing this market right now. I was tempted to take a bit of a hedge at this point. I'm just not feeling it yet. I'm going to look into a couple things with the MDX algo indicators, which would make me at least short term switch my bias and at least be willing to scalp some sort of a long. But as it stands right now, like I said, I have about 20% of my short from 58K still running, just in case we continue trending down. Because I mean, it would be very realistic to end up hitting the 886 fib, which would be right around 51K. And honestly, after that, yeah, I mean, maybe even double bottom territory right around 49K. If we end up setting another lower low on this trend, which we have been doing consistently on this trend since basically, where did we end up topping out? Back in March, April. We've been in a downtrend ever since. And I know when you look on crypto Twitter and everything like that, you know, a lot of people have been bullish this entire time, expecting all-time highs breakouts for the last several months. The thing is, guys, I want to be clear about something. I am very bullish on crypto as a whole. I am a total moon boy at heart. I absolutely love crypto. I use it every day. I trade it every day. It's just that I understand that, you know, in a downtrend, I'm totally open to the idea of trading to the downside. I still hold most of my spot positions. It's not like I'm that bearish overall that I sold everything and all that kind of stuff. It's more so the direction that I'm trading with leverage, right? I'm still open to the idea of even spot buying some crypto. It's just that I'm not really willing to add leverage to that idea at this point. I'm just not that bullish that I think we are going to see some sort of a breakout right away, right? I fully expect at some point in this market cycle, I want to be clear about this. I don't think this bull market is over. I just think it's very possible that we see a very serious bearish correction. I honestly think that would be the most bullish thing for the market, because the quicker we get it over with, we get some sort of a capitulation, an actual capitulation. What we saw today, we're just trading in a 4-hour range. This is not capitulation. This is just a big dump to the downside. The most bullish thing, in my opinion, that could happen for Bitcoin is to test significantly lower levels, because the big players who actually control the price and move the market as a whole, if they're waiting for lower prices, or if we get those lower prices, they do have the patience and they do have the timing, or the funding, the timing. They have everything on their side that they will be willing to buy that big correction if it does happen. Whereas these little ones, you know, it's possible they just think that, hey, we can get a little bit lower, because they have more patience than retail in general. As we were trading down to these levels, I mean, guys, the market was, I don't have it pulled up right now, but the market was 75% long on the retail side. There's so much retail, and generally speaking, retail isn't correct, right? The fact that we had 75% long in the market was just showing me that, you know, like, that's just so much fuel for the downside, right? Any market makers looking for that liquidity, anything like that, as long as people are willing to long. I know you see a lot of people out there saying that, hey guys, quit selling. Why are you selling? Honestly speaking, if retail for the most part starts selling, the quicker that the big players, the market makers, are going to start pushing the price the other way. It's unfortunate, but that's just what's going to happen. Because so many people in retail are under the impression that, you know, the market has to go to all-time highs right now. And for some reason, smart money is going to FOMO in at all-time highs and pump our bags and make it easy for us. I just don't think that's necessarily the case, right? I mean, smart money never got extremely wealthy by pumping other people's bags and by FOMOing into markets, right? That's not how they operate. And that's why I think there is potential for lower prices. But we're going to have to see, right? I mean, I'm not trading those, you know, extra long time frames like the weekly, the daily, even the 4-hour. I am more so trading the 5-minute, the 1-minute stuff like that. But when I get into a nice position, as I went over last stream and the last several streams, I like to start downsizing my risk very quickly. But from there, I like to leave my position run. Like even right now, I'm in a beautiful profit, you guys. This has been a fantastic day for me, but understand that, I have been locking in profits. I locked in most of my profits because my main target was reached, but I always want to leave some on the table because, if nothing else, if all of a sudden we start getting some sort of a relief rally, it looks weak early. I have a nice buffer at this point where I could add to my position and not really open myself up to any risk other than losing a little bit more profits. But my position is well in the clear, juicy one at that. So I have no complaints there. But one thing that I was talking about, and when I went short in our last stream here on Wednesday, I guess not the last stream, but a couple days ago, one thing I had mentioned that as I took this short up in this range here, one thing that I was going to be looking for with the MDX algo indicators was my trend master indicator. And I always talk about this. One of the things that I love doing with these indicators, and I had mentioned that this would give me great confirmation, added confluence to my theories, would be if we saw these buy and sell signals shift to the downside. And because at the time I did kind of go against these, right? When I ended up taking my short, we did have these higher buy signals. We had higher sell signals. But as I said, after I took that trade, that if all of a sudden we start setting lower sell signals, that was going to confirm my bias that, hey, the indicators, I'm looking at it as a second opinion. And if I start seeing that shift to the downside, I am going to feel very confident with my position. And notice shortly after that stream, we all of a sudden get a lower sell signal, lower sell signal, lower sell signal, lower sell signal, lower sell, lower sell, lower sell, lower sell, lower sell. So what I always talk about, guys, is I don't necessarily take every single signal and that goes for any indicator. I don't necessarily go with each individual signal, but when I can spot a trend, they really help me with a second opinion looking at which way the market is trending. And I mean, you can see it here clear as day. As soon as we ended up switching that directions, I mean, look what happened to the market. Just absolutely nuked. And yes, we get the odd, we all of a sudden set a higher sell signal, but we don't have higher buy signals, right? So lower sell, all these buys still trending to the downside. They are starting to curl to the upside there. And then look what happens. We get a lower sell signal and just nuke again. So, I mean, it's not going to work every time, but it's just great additional confluence when looking for positions. And honestly, right now, even though we reach my target, like I said, I'm not overly interested in longs right now. Something that would change my mind on that, and I'd at least be willing to get myself into some sort of a scalp long, would be if I start seeing these signals trending to the upside, right? So we do have this buy signal and it's trending to the upside nicely, but it is just the 1 minute and the buy signals are still trending to the downside. So what I would really like to see would be a higher sell signal come into play with the trend master indicator, followed by a higher buy signal, something like that. If that happens, I will at least be open to the idea that, I'm starting to see some warnings that things are starting to shift here. So, I mean, yes, the main target, my range target, the 786, you guys know I won't shut up about that level. Every single video I talk about it, whether that's support or resistance, right? That goes for both directions. It just depends if I'm pulling from top to bottom or bottom to top, looking for resistance or looking for support. And since we hit that level, that was my main target. And that's why most of my position is closed at this point. The reason why I'm not getting overly bullish yet is because this isn't an actual Stuber fib setup. I know that's a scalping strategy I talk about quite a bit where, after a structure break, I like to start laddering in at the 786, 886 double bottom territory kind of a thing. Right now on this trend, as far as the 4 hour goes, the lower lows and lower high structure, unfortunately, the current lower high is still significantly higher. I'm not considering things like this, lower highs, because our lower low, the highest point between the two is still way up here at 70K. So yes, it's unfortunate, but that's what the structure is. And that's what the chart is giving us currently. So had we broken this level and then got a pull back to this box, I would feel very different about it. That's very different structure, because at least at that point we would have a bullish structure break followed by that pullback. Right now we don't overly have that. And then something that I want to talk about, and this is where it gets pretty ugly in my opinion, is the weekly chart. It just still looks bad. That's all I can say about it. Even the weekly setting lower lows, lower highs. Yes, technically we're still within this wick. So yes, and obviously at the 786 here, if I pulled from here to here, but it just does not look good. in my opinion, the RSI still trending to the downside. That's the thing. The RSI hasn't even broken its downtrend, right? It's even the RSI is respecting technical analysis that we keep getting rejected at this downward sloping resistance line. But look what's actually happening on the RSI right now. Is the RSI, no matter how you look at it, we are losing horizontal support on the RSI as well as getting rejected on that diagonal resistance. As well, the RSI on the weekly right now is down at about 43, 44. So we've plunged below the 50 level. So at this point, I mean, it just looks to me like bears are in control, and that strength, the relative strength index, is showing that the bears are in control, and the structure goes with that. So unfortunately, as much as I would love to be a moon boy again, because I haven't been a moon boy in a couple of months now, and that's weird for me because normally I am quite a bullish person on this market. It is what it is. And I'm just going to trade for what's actually in the chart rather than saying, well, what if this breaks out? Well, if it breaks out, then I'll start trading the upside. That's totally fine. But as it stands, the last couple of months, trading the downside and shorting, rather than buying the dip, shorting the rips, it's been very profitable. So I'm not going to change up what I'm doing until, I'm bearish until proven otherwise, basically. But yeah, as it stands right now, actually, I wanted to go back to the 4 hour because another thing I had mentioned with the, I think this was I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before, but with the Trendmaster indicator once again, that yes, although this was a higher sell signal and on a longer time frame, another thing I was looking at, just like I was talking about with basically any indicator, I like to notice which way things are trending, right? And with these P's and X's, these are reversal pivot points, right? And here, since this was above the price, that's a bearish one. And notice that we got a lower pivot point, just trending to the downside, right? And then another one and absolutely nuked. So again, just noticing that those signals are trending to the downside and just how powerful that can actually be, right? Just giving me the confidence while I see so many people falling into echo chambers and it's the popular thing to be bullish all the time. I see so many people saying unfollow bearish people. I see a lot of people unfollowing bearish traders who have been correct on this whole trend when, they're not willing to unfollow, let's say, the people who are getting them wrecked by telling them all-time highs are around the corner for the last 4 months and people are leveraging FOMOing into resistance over and over, right? I understand that echo chambers are a powerful thing, but that's not how trading works. So it depends if you want to be happy or you want to be right. Do you want to make money or do you want to be popular, right? So this has been absolutely beautiful. And yeah, rather than relying on other people's opinions, these indicators just use math, use stats, and go from there. So using them as a second opinion when trying to find trends like that can be a very powerful thing, you guys. And I've made an absolute killing today and the last couple days since this trade on Wednesday. So absolutely love it. And that was a big part of it, right? Like I said, on that 1 minute, the signals changed down, started trending down. And from there, it was just bearish trend on the shorter time frame, basically. That being said, guys, if these MDX ALGO indicators do interest you, there is a link down below that gives an additional 10% discount on top of current promotions at checkout. I have been using these indicators for just over 2 years. I use them every single day. The only other indicator I really use is the RSI, and that's just because of a very specific divergence that I look for, which outlined here on the weekly. But other than that, I really just use a handful of these indicators, and there's so many more, right? There's a whole slew of them here, over a dozen. I really only use 3 or 4 for the most part. And that's just because everyone has their own strategies that works for them, right? But yeah, absolutely love using them. Use them every single day. So if that interests you, there is that link down below. How is everyone else feeling on the market? How's everyone feeling? Bullish, bearish? You think I'm way out to lunch? Do you think I'm onto something? Do you think we're going to keep going down? Because something I want to warn you guys about is, as bearish as I am, understand that we are starting to trade at support, right? That's why I have this green box here. That's why it was my target for the short. Yes, I'm still bearish, but understand that there is a huge difference between shorting when we were up at resistance versus shorting today as we're trading into some support, right? Yes, I see the possibility that we continue down lower, but it would not be all that crazy at all to see some sort of a relief rally before that happens, if it even happens, right? So just understand it's very natural to get bearish at support, get bullish at resistance. We've seen that every single one of these swings. We have seen FOMO go nuts at resistance, and we have seen the bearish sentiment go nuts at support. And so, shockingly, I want to be the voice of reason as we approach support and say, just be cautious, right? We're at levels, we're at a very important level, and basically anything is possible here. The floor could absolutely give way, which is why I still have part of my position open, but we could absolutely find a bounce here, which is exactly why I closed 80% of my position, right? So just be ready for anything. Basically, the way I look at the markets, anytime you enter a trade, understand worst case scenario. What if you're wrong? No matter how sure you are of a trade setup, understand that there's a chance you're wrong. What's your backup plan, right? Always know the risks before getting involved with the position. And yeah, be ready for everything, because everything and anything, because at the end of the day, the market does not give a shit about our feelings. It does not give a shit about our opinions. All that matters at the end of the day is supply and demand, and yeah, where the market makers are going to take it, basically. So there's been some crazy bearish targets that I've been talking about for, well, a couple months now at this point, but that doesn't mean they have to happen, right? Because like I was just saying, the market doesn't care what my opinion is. But just understand that no matter how sure I am that I don't think we would reach these levels without a black swan event, just understand that anything is possible. And I've been in other market cycles in the past where things have felt unrealistic and then they end up happening anyways. So just understand that anything is possible, right? Just going to zoom in now, just basically gonna watch the chart, do a little live analysis as things play out for basically just a few more minutes here. The main part of this video was I just really wanted to warn you guys that, hey, even though things look grim, things are looking very bearish, understand that we have tested support, and support is support until it's broken. So we're at a level where people just got to be cautious in general. Like I said, I'll consider changing my bias if we end up setting a higher buy signal with the trend master indicator. I think that would be absolutely beautiful to at least get into some sort of a hedge, or whether I end up taking a little nibble off some of my profits on my short position, or I just let that run and open up a bit of a hedge long. We're gonna have to see if I even catch it, right? Because I'm not going to be staring at the 1 minute chart all day or anything like that. But yeah, that's kind of something that I'm waiting for at this point. Just some sort of a confirmation that things might be reversing other than just hitting my target, right? Because yes, it was a target, but I didn't have any confirmation that it needs to hold, right? I didn't have anything switching trends, or I just want to zoom out a little bit. Let's hop over to the 5 minute. As far as this immediate trend goes, yes, we did break this structure level that we could say, hey, here was a low, lower low, lower low, lower low, technically. So really even breaking this was already a bit of a micro structure break that you could, or if you wanted to go a little bit safer, yes, we end up breaking that level. But understand that even after a structure break, I personally don't like playing breakouts. I would rather wait for that pullback. So at this point, I'd be more interested in waiting to see, once again, looking for 786, 886 fib pocket, and it might not happen. It doesn't always give us what we want, but I'd be more so looking for something like this and finding some sort of a long setup like that. But like I said, I'm personally not feeling very FOMO-ish as far as looking for longs, just because I think that there's still potential for further downside. That weekly chart, just every time I look at it, honestly, I feel a little more bearish. If anything, I'm going to be playing the bearish side of things a little more cautiously as we're down at this 4-hour support levels, but I'm far from bullish. And if structure changes over the next few days and starts creating something that catches my eye, then great. But at this point, I just can't bring myself to feel FOMO or feel overly bullish. Just if anything, I'm open to the idea of getting some sort of relief rally at this point. And we have to see what happens from there, right? I say it all the time. I think it's way more important to be able to react than predict, because anybody can predict what's going to happen, but how are you going to play it, right? And that's where waiting for those setups. That's why I wait for those Fibonaccis. I love trading Fibonaccis because they're very structured. There's no guessing game to it. I'm not wondering, is this support level going to hold? It's just either this fib level is going to hold or it's not, kind of a thing. Whereas, if you start trying to really microanalyze every time we've had support or resistance on this trend, I mean, you could be drawing lines everywhere, right? So there's a lot of interpreting, just kind of guesswork, I guess. Obviously, there's going to be more important support resist flipping levels, and there's going to be more important support and resist levels, period. But I just really like the Fibonaccis just because I find it easier to spot an entire range rather than just spotting one level on its own, kind of a thing, right? Just for the last few minutes here, I want to let's just get little tunes going again here, because I want to catch up on the chat. If you guys have any questions, any requests, anything like that, by all means, shoot them in the chat right now. I'm just going to be going through some of the questions and such right now. If you guys have been appreciating these videos, you've been enjoying these live streams, you've made money on these live streams, especially if that's happened, please do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe. It goes a long ways. And, as long as you guys are enjoying these, I'm going to continue doing them. And hopefully we can all make money together because, the last few streams, we've taken some nice positions. TON, we took a beautiful short on TON, ended up hitting over 300% on that. Ended up hitting, I think, over 600% on this Bitcoin trade, to be honest. Yeah, we've nailed some great trades, and they started as scalps. But then again, like I said, I don't close entire positions because I'm not banking on home run trades. But if they happen, I want at least some of my positions still on the table. Even if I'm only going to catch it with a quarter of my position or whatever, I still want to catch it with something without all of a sudden in panic mode that, I closed my entire position too early. Now I don't know what to do. Now I'm going to get myself into a FOMO position and end up getting wrecked or something like that, right? Oh, we got John here shorting. You were shorting 59K. Nice. That's even a better entry than mine. Still riding it. Yeah. Beautiful. Right. Hopefully, I mean, in my opinion, anyways, not financial advice. You do you. I'm hoping that you're paying yourself along the way, because one thing that I love doing and why I just basically why I love scalping, for example, or starting with a scalp and ending with a swing trade if it works out like it did here, for example. It just takes a lot of the guessing game out, takes a lot of the stress out. And that way, if you are paying yourself on the way, let's say my targets right now are significantly lower. If I'm expecting us to drop to, 45K, for example, understand that if that doesn't happen, I'm okay, because I've already paid myself. I've already received a fantastic payday, whether or not I'm correct on those theories, right? So it's always important to be paying yourself along the way. And quite honestly, I think that's where a lot of traders struggle. It's very easy to get into a profitable position. It's very difficult to actually take those profits on that position. So it's more instinct that people love to update a stop loss to break even, for example, and not actually pay themselves. And then even if they're not losing that position, if they're not outweighing the losses they do take, then obviously those end up biting you in the ass as well, right? So just something to consider, that if you're, that's why I just love taking profits on the way. I'm usually very quick to close a quarter to half of my position. And then I love leaving that second half of the position running and just kind of taking nibbles on the profits as we go, kind of a thing. Busy, yes, took the short last night, stopped out, but back in lower, didn't hold it this whole time. Small position, was a winner. Nice trade. Oh, right on. Well, at least you got some sort of a trade, right? even if it was a small position, if it was a winner, absolutely congrats. Love to hear it. Scumdog, dude, how is the bull market? The bull market pretty bearish these days. And again, I do want to be clear about this, guys, that I don't think this market cycle's over. I just think that we are getting a bigger retrace than a lot of people are expecting. Even though I'm expecting that this market cycle, we still end up seeing higher prices. We eventually break 70K. Obviously doesn't have to happen. I just think that it will. Basically, even if we are going to break those levels, and I think all-time highs are going to happen, just understand that does not have to happen next week or the week after or next month or the month after, right? Myself, I honestly wouldn't be too surprised if we don't see all-time highs until close to the end of this year, if not 2025. Again, happy to be disproven on that. If the chart changes and we invalidate the bearish trend, then I will get bullish again, just like the next guy. But as it stands right now, and that's the thing, right? I mean, I'm looking at a weekly chart right now. These take a long time to play out. And I know that's why a lot of people started to think that I was wrong, because they're taking so long to play out. But if this was a 5-minute chart or a 1-minute chart, would it look weird? No, that would be basic chart structure. Just like it would be basic chart structure if we dropped significantly from here. Again, I personally think it'll take a black swan event to get us down to some of these levels, but just understand it's possible, because if this was any other time frame chart, and I personally don't even look at the price very much anymore. To be completely honest, I barely look at the actual numbers price of Bitcoin. Structure is far more important. I look at structure levels and I basically tune out all these numbers here, because it's easy to start thinking that, oh no, those numbers aren't realistic. Well, yeah, but the structure says it is, right? So just understand that structure and price, they can give you a different opinion about what's about to happen. So yeah, I just like looking at structure and playing it as it comes. I don't care what the numbers on the side are. I personally don't care if Bitcoin goes up or down. I just love that it's been volatile. That's all that matters to me as a trader. I don't care which way it's moving. I just care that it is moving. Did Matt exit Scam Bang Box? I have no idea. I had this marked as a potential reversal point, but we will see. Yeah, exactly. Me too, right? This was my range target, but we'll see if it holds or reverses. We'll see. Pete, you're long? Ballsy. But you know what? I do see reasons, right? That's the thing. I'm bearish myself, but I do see reasons why we could at least see some sort of relief rally, if nothing else, right? Like, the market trades both ways. It's not going one direction forever. It was an exotic bull market. Yeah, it was something, all right. Subbed and liked. Nice. Thank you very much. What's the chance of BTC to go down to 43K? Honestly, I think very good. We're going to have to see what happens if we do end up dropping this support, but I have a feeling if we set a lower low again, I absolutely think that we're going to see much lower, down into the 40s. If not in a position now, what levels recommended for short or long? Honestly, I'm more of a reactive trader than predicting. So if anything, I mean, like I said, you could try for something like what I have outlined here, this bullish fib. So 786 is down around 52.8K. The 886 is down around 52.6. Just understand that the overall trend, like this 4 hour, yeah, we're at support, but the trend is very obviously to the downside. And I'm actually surprised how many people out there are not seeing this, because this is not a personal bias. This is not a gut feeling. This is emotion. This is not emotions. This is just fact. If you look at this chart and look at the structure for what it is, there is a series of lower lows clearly outlined, and the highest point between each low and lower low is then your confirmed lower high. So that's basically how I've been looking at this whole trend. And so far, you know, yes, we break structure. Everybody gets super bearish at that point because people love playing breakout trades. But so often after you break a level, you end up getting a retrace, and that's where our Fibonacci's come into play, right? So as far as looking for a short at this point, what are some of the indicators saying? Actually, let's bring up the trend master indicator. Yeah, I was going to say this kind of looked like a lower high over here. 1 second. Just because, so, and this is just kind of micro analyzing just this immediate downtrend. It is the 4 hours, so it should carry some weight. Understand that, yes, we are at support of this entire range kind of a thing. Basically anything from 52.5 all the way down to 49K is technically support. But if we zoom in and we're just looking at this immediate downtrend, I would be basically looking at this as a low. We set a lower low, and then our lower high would be up here. So I would be looking at a fib pull something like this if I was looking for a short. In that case, the 786 would be right around 56K. The 886 would be around 56.5K. And your lower high structure would be around 57K. Does it have to play out? Absolutely not. Like, the thing is, that'll be a battle between resistance and support because we're getting squeezed into a tighter range, right? But that's kind of what I'm looking at for structure right now as far as the 4 hour goes. Let's hop over to the 5 minute. Something I wanted to check with this is if I bring up the auto charting tools, that's something I love to pull Fibonacci's off quite often. Oh yeah, so we haven't set a lower high signal in quite a while. Something I love using with the auto charting tools is if we get, let's say, a lower high signal prints, for example, and it is a lagging indicator, so it might still print, let's say, here or here, who knows. But when we get those signals printing, quite often they'll give great confirmations of where you could pull a Fibonacci from, right? Let's just say that rather than really micro analyzing this with that bullish structure break, let's say that, you know, here's a low of this little range here, and then we broke that, set a lower low. In that case, this would be our lower high, right? So we could pull a Fibonacci from there, in which case we'd be trading right in that 786, 886 fib pocket. So yeah, it's absolutely possible we just get rejected right here. Just understand that things are risky right now. We already had the main move as far as the short setup goes. So yes, even though I'm seeing potential for a short setup right here on the 5 minute, understand that we're kind of fighting the 4 hour at that point because we're getting that bounce off the 4 hour support level. So no matter which way you look at it right now, you just got to be cautious, right? A more obvious, I'm going to say, swing trade approach would be if I bring back the 4 hour chart, would be, and this would take a while to play out. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But as far as looking for potential more of a swing trade in this case, but just an obvious one that comes to mind is if we end up breaking this lower low, it's possible the floor just absolutely dumps from there, right? It's possible we just absolutely nuke, but generally speaking, I don't like to play breakouts all that much, so I would still be wanting some sort of a pullback. And although it would take a long time, and depending what your definition of long time is, but let's say we set a lower low like that, that would then, if we drop this level, that's when we confirm this as our lower high. Right now, this looks like a lower high, but I'm not confirming it a lower high because we haven't broke structure to the downside again. But if that does happen, lower low, at that point, I would consider this a lower high. And that's when I would be interested in pulling a Fibonacci. And again, just looking for some sort of a retrace up to that fib pocket and then carrying on the trend from there. there's a lot of what ifs between now and then. That is a 4-hour chart. It would take a while to play out, but that's just the only obvious thing jumping out at me, just because we've already had such a violent move to the downside. It just, at some point, there's going to be some sort of relief rally. And whether that happens now or that happens, you know, next week or next month, it's hard to say. I do want to keep this up because this is actually, that is an interesting looking setup. Does look like we're seeing some sort of resistance right in that Fibonacci pocket there. So, I mean, yeah, there's a short opportunity there, but if we end up breaking above this high here, then I think it's going to be invalidated. And at that point, we'll get more of a relief rally. But even as far as really zooming in on this micro trend here, if you really zoom in, and you can actually see it easier if I remove the wicks. Sometimes I like to do that when I'm just jumping into a naked chart. I like to basically take the wicks away just to clean things up. Notice that we had this series of, you know, we had a high, we had a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So just a series of higher highs and higher lows here, but here it gets really congested, but we obviously lose that range there. And, you know, that might be the signal that we are going to retrace or have some sort of weakness here. I want to bring the wicks back. But just understand that there was a little bit of a structure shift there. And yeah, it's just a lot easier to see if you remove the wicks, right? Whenever I'm pulling Fibonacci's and stuff like that, I still use wicks. But sometimes just to get a clear picture of the chart structure itself, because candle bodies matter more than wicks, in my opinion anyways. Yeah, that's just, that's a little life hack that I like to do. And that's honestly how I kind of recognize that this trend was shifting to the downside on the weekly chart, right? If I remove the wicks, just all of a sudden, just got to remove a few things. Notice that this was the first time on the weekly chart that we ended up losing this higher low structure for quite some time. You know, all of these rallies here, actually here we did technically, but after that was invalidated, continue to the upside. And again, this would have been one of those times where, hey, we got to close above this bearish structure. And actually this would have had a Stuber fib that played out actually. Break the structure, pull back to the Stuber fib, was not invalidated, get your range target, the 214. So yeah, it would have played out and then it got invalidated. But since then, we haven't lost a higher low structure on the weekly until this happened. That was the start of April. We confirmed that we were in a bearish trend now. And, you know, that's been several months. That's been, what, 5 months now or something like that, that we've actually been in a downtrend, but people are still having a hard time coping with that, right? But when you remove the wicks, it's just a lot easier to see. The trend is our friend. Absolutely. Right. And that's why I keep trading the downside. Even though I'm open to the idea of bounces and stuff, I just don't have the confidence in my bullish positions. Like when I have been taking the odd bullish scalp, but when I take them, I'm less likely to be looking for that home run trade or just a runner, right? I'm quicker to take more percentage of my trade off the table. And all that sort of thing. I'm just a lot quicker to reduce my risk and start taking profits and that sort of thing. Whereas on the short side of things, since I've had such a strong bearish bias on the longer time frames, that's where it's been very easy for me to hold on to positions because I have zero FOMO because I'm just looking at basic chart structure. Zero emotion attached to this market the last couple of months. I've had no FOMO. I really have not expected all-time highs to happen soon for several months now at this point. I think it was early June when I started really changing my bias to being strongly bearish. Lord Drake, great to see you here again, bro. Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens here. If this short does play out, I would basically expect us to end up getting very close to that 786. Sorry, I shouldn't say if this short plays out, because I did not take a short here, but if this retrace does happen because of this loss of structure here, I would expect us to see some sort of a bounce right around that 786. So that'd be around 52.8K, somewhere in there. That's if we don't invalidate this right away and just set a new higher high, then that's invalidated, right? Guys, I actually do have to get going. I know this was a short one, but I really just wanted to squeeze this in just because I know there's a lot of panic in the market right now. And I just kind of wanted to go through what I was doing with that trade setup, right? Because since I took that trade with you guys right around 58K a couple days ago, I just kind of wanted to update my thoughts on that, explain why I have closed most of my position, but also why I'm leaving some run, right? So I just kind of wanted to give a quick update with that. If you have appreciated this video and these live streams in general, whether you've been making money or just liking, maybe the way I'm explaining structure, Fibonacci's, the indicators I love using, any of that, just do me a favor, hit that like, subscribe to the channel. And yeah, let's actually, before anything, I just want to check one more time. Okay, we're starting to try and flip this sell trend. This is just the 1 minute, or no, sorry, the 5 minute. So understand that, yes, it's possible that eventually we end up flipping this, but it will be a lower buy signal. I won't be overly bullish. Let's go to the 1 minute again. Oh, not wanting to load right now. Let's just set this real quick. Oh, so we got another sell signal, but understand this is what I was talking about, that's a bit of a warning that we have a higher sell signal. We don't have the buy signals aligning with that yet. We don't have the higher buy. If we get that, I'm going to actually consider looking at some long scalps going into the evening, but we're going to have to see what happens with that. I'm not going to assume that's going to happen just because there's a higher sell signal. I want to see those start agreeing with each other. So we'll have to see how that ends up playing out. Actually, the 4 hour, another thing I wanted to check quickly was the liquidations levels. And notice yesterday I had pointed out that, I thought there was a chance we come grab this last little bit of liquidity here. Actually never quite hit the bottom one, but very close. But those lined up very closely with my 786. So just added confirmation that that was a level that, could be on the radar for the market makers, just grabbing that liquidity, right? So now we're starting to see people late shorting into the market. Those liquidation levels, the 50x and 100x, that's what these yellow and gold lines are. That's 50 and 100x liquidation levels. So the fact that that liquidity is building up above us, that would make sense that eventually we see some sort of a relief rally and grab some of that liquidity before carrying on to the downside, if we even carry on to the downside, right? Because again, market doesn't care what I think. We're just going to have to see how it develops day by day. But yeah, I love using this indicator just to see, does it make sense that we keep going down here, or does it make sense that we do get some sort of a relief rally? Yeah, it would make sense. I'm not going to enter a position based solely on that, but I'm absolutely open to the idea of a relief rally just because there's so many liquidations above us, and they start really picking up at around closer to 59K. We see a lot of liquidation levels above that. So something to consider there. Yeah, anyways, legends, I think that's about all I wanted to go over with you today. Hopefully you did find this stream useful. Again, if you did find it useful, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe. And if you're interested in my absolute favorite indicators on TradingView, there's an additional 10% discount on checkout using the link down below. Other than that, my friends, stay safe. May the crypto gods shine down on you. May your profits be plentiful. hopefully this market isn't catching you too off guard. I'm hoping that you're enjoying this volatility the way I am rather than fearing it, because as actual traders, we absolutely love these conditions. The direction should not matter, but the movement itself does, right? As long as the markets are moving, there's opportunities going both directions. So even if, that's another thing too, you guys, I want to be clear about it. Even though I'm bearish personally, there can be someone else trading this market bullishly and still be profiting. If somebody's scalping the upside and just catching little bounces here and there on the way down, that's absolutely possible. Everyone has their own trading strategies that works for them. So just because I'm personally bearish doesn't mean that's the only thing to do. And if you're not doing that, you're wrong. That's not necessarily true, right? So I just want to be clear about that. Yeah, I hope that you guys are enjoying this volatility as much as I am. So with that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Thank you so much for being a part of this stream. I wouldn't be here without you guys. So hopefully you're enjoying it. Like I said, like and subscribe. With that, I will be back, well, maybe in the next couple days, but like I said, I might be leaving town. So we'll see when I get back, but good luck out there, my friends. Stay safe. Peace.